It's been a while. The last 6 months I've kind of disappeared. I know I've had a few videos out, but like literally the last 6 months I have disappeared. I've disappeared to work on a few things, to work on myself, to work on my mind, to work on my body, to work on my soul, and I feel amazing. I feel so good, and I needed that time to focus on a lot of different things. And what I discovered in that time is it's time for a new chapter. But before we go and talk about the new chapter, I want to talk about the 2 previous chapters. So I would summarise the 2 previous chapters as chapter 1, chapter 2. Chapter 1 was like when I finished uni and up until I was like 30. So like 20, 22, 23 up until 30 when I had the house, the business, the whole society norms. And chapter 2 is the chapter that's just been from the age of 30 to 37. And this chapter was me discovering a new way of living, exploring the world, having epic adventures, and now moving into chapter 3. But we'll talk about that chapter 3 a bit later. But the last 6 months I've been looking back on those chapters, and I've been looking back at the things that made me happy, the things that didn't make me happy, the things I was doing as a person, and kind of just analysing everything. So chapter 2 for me, when I left that society and realised there's another way to live, I set up a website. The website was called wakeuptotheworld.com, and that website was, my vision was to showcase that there's another way of living, that you don't have to live in that society norm that you're drummed in from a young age. You need to get a job, you need to get a house, you need to like get married, etc, etc, etc. And for me, finding out there is other ways to live, because I was never happy. I never happy living that life. Like I was unconsciously living. That would be the best way to describe it. Unconsciously living in this environment which isn't healthy for me. And it doesn't like necessarily spark any excitement in me, or there were elements to it that made me happy, like the work I was doing. I look back, and that was probably the best thing about that time. It wasn't necessarily the business, it wasn't like the money that I was earning, it wasn't like the things that I was like doing or anything like that. The work, the actual work of coaching children was what made me happy. And seeing progression is actually something that I really love and enjoy. And being able to coach children and see the progression was an element of that life that I really enjoyed. And then my new life, the chapter 2, the traveling, it was amazing. It was amazing. Like, it eye-opening, like, to another degree, like another level, it was just, until you've stepped out of that world and stepped into a new world, you don't see what is possible. You don't like experience what is out there. Like this, before I started filming on YouTube, I travelled Europe, and I travelled around the UK and Ireland, and those experiences, those memories, that life was incredible. And then leaving that and then travelling Asia, that was a whole different experience. And then walking the coast path for like a couple of months, that again, it was everything was an experience and a lesson. But along the way, I've kind of lost myself, because I think back to then who I was, and then I kind of look back to the last couple of years of who I was. And I was just trying to find my way, find a path. Whereas before, I've always kind of like, I want to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I've gone for it. The last couple of years, I've kind of just been like juggling up in the air, and I've lost the sense of like me. I've been trying to please other people. I've been saying yes to things that don't align with me, because I'm just trying to help other people rather than help myself. And the last 6 months, I've realised a lot. The last 6 months, I've realised what makes me happy. I've realised what it is that I enjoy doing and what I should be doing. And don't get me wrong, all of the adventures, I'm still doing them. I still go swimming, I still go hiking, I still go camping, and I actually like have like probably a pile of notebooks like that big that have so many crazy ideas in that I want to do. But what I've noticed, especially in this last chapter, is that I have all these ideas, but I'm not taking action. Everything I'm trying to do, I'm sabotaging. And the last 6 months, I've like started to go into those things and realise why and how and what and all of those things. And back to the point where I had their website called wakeuptotheworld.com, my vision was to help others understand there are other ways to live. And that kind of got knocked on the head because I ended up working with my brother at the beginning, which was Too Born to Travel. That didn't really work out because it was like he realised that he just wanted to travel rather than document it. So I was kind of left with Too Born to Travel, and I didn't really align 100% with me, if that makes sense, because when we set it up, it was the two of us born to travel. So for the last 6 years, I've kind of been trying to work out how to. I've just been stuck with the name and not being able to align it to like what I'm trying to do. Like you can see from the content, I start things, I stop, I start things, I stop, and there's never any consistency with uploads. As I get to a certain stage, and then I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Like is anyone benefiting from it? And again, all of that like negative self-talk, self-sabotage, all of that sort of stuff. I am changing. I have changed, and I want to change. And these things are changing into a new chapter. I want to rebrand the channel, and I want to rebrand it. I had this idea years ago, and I remember being down at the river with a friend, and I said to the friend, I've got this idea. I want to help people be more, like just be more. And that's where the Be More Random come along, because I was like, the possibilities are endless. Like, be more random, you can go out and do crazy stuff. Be more like healthy. Be more like just be the ultimate version of yourself. And that's how and where I'm at the moment. I want to bring and add value to people's lives. And I know a lot of you have said that like what I already do does that. It's like an entertainment value rather than an actionable value. It's like everything I do is entertaining, but there's no action steps of how you can do that. Be More is about like me sharing my journey, my experiences, and how they've benefited me, how they've made an impact, and giving like tools to help other people be the best version of themselves. And you're never going to be the best version of yourself, because you're always going to be building and learning and improving, and it's like a step. These last 6 months have been life-changing for me, and I'm ready for the next chapter. I'm excited about the next chapter. And it's things that I've loved. I've always loved like learning new things, experiencing new things, like growing, the curiosity of like trying things, seeing how they work, seeing how they fit with me, and doing. It's just like, that is growth. Without growth, I don't like that is like growth and learning and improving and progress. Yes, during those times it is important to like relax and rest, and it's not like you always have to continuously, every single second, everything you do needs to like be growth and stuff. But like, it's a change of lifestyle. I've changed my lifestyle again from chapter 1 to chapter 2 to chapter 3, and it's a mix, I think, of both chapters. I found the good things and the bad things of both chapters, and now I'm implementing it into chapter 3. You can see from this channel that I haven't been consistent with things. I've jumped from one thing to another to another to another, and don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing, because I've learned a lot of things along the way, and it's led me to this point in my journey. And the new chapter of Be More, here just for the adventures. I'm sorry that they're going to be few and far between on here. Obviously I'm still going to do them, but I want to keep them to myself at the moment. I just want to focus on keeping that to myself, because sometimes I struggle to take the camera, I struggle to set it up, like, because it takes away the moment. It takes away me being in that moment and being experiencing that thing. And I've always had this in my head, this balance of like, I love filming them because like there's memories there to look back on, like especially with all the girls and stuff. It's like a really like a cool thing to watch back, like when we slept on the beach and slept on the river and all of those adventures. But at the same time, like setting up the camera, talking to the camera, it kind of takes all of the being in the moment away from it. So for now, those won't be filmed. I have a plan, and I want to film those in the future whereby I don't have to be responsible for filming those things. So that's a long-term goal that I have, which will be very far in the future. But this next chapter is the journey of me creating the best version of myself. And if I can help any others along the way, then that would be brilliant. So, see you next week. And if you're here just for the adventures, like, I completely understand if you want to not watch the videos or unsubscribe. That's cool. Yeah. Thanks for watching. See you next week.